So, all right, top to bottom, we got Duke who's in Tennessee. We have me in the middle, the moronic charge of this goat rope, and then my buddy Bobby C right here, Digital Bobby Digital, is in charge of all the details and facts tonight. Tyler Mann from Saskatchewan Goose Company's bottom left, and then the Cornmeister, the problem, the root of it all is Byron Hahn. He's the problem.
I
Okay,
stop him here in Missouri.
he's the problem, right? So the whole thing of what everybody's been talking about is flooded corn and what the problems are, right? And why everybody's like, we're holding them up, we're doing whatever. And I'm going to just try to watch the page so you know, people can go there or, whatever. So, but let's start with facts. Like that's what I'm trying to deal with, right? Like facts, right? So everybody's talking about flooded corn is the problem. Nothing's migrating and everything's stopping. Okay. But I think this group has some other insight into what what we think is going on, right? So, and we're going to start all the way in Canada with Tyler Mann and what he's seen, and then we're going to go south and through the flyway on what we think is going on, right? So, so Tyler, I'll ask you something to start. Um, uh, what is what have you seen this year? Have you seen anything different uh, in Canada that you haven't seen in the past few years?
Well, like I've been outfitting in the area for this is our ninth season that I've owned the business, but I've been outfitting in this area for 14 years. And all I have to say is the last 4 years for sure, our birds are not gone.
Right,
And we are wrapped up with our waterfowl and we're into our deer season. And like the third week in November, I still have birds. And for anybody that doesn't know where we are, we're at the top of the flyway in Saskatchewan, right at the tree line. Um, that didn't happen 14 years ago.
right,
14 years ago, my birthday is October 21st. If you were killing birds after the 21st of October, where we are, you were on borrowed time. Like everything was locked up. I'm not saying there was no birds, but there was not that many.
right.
And the last 3 or 4 years, like we've actually pushed back our season this year. We're actually booked another three groups of waterfowl hunters.
Right,
Just a simple fact that we still have a god awful pile of birds still,
right.
and there has been some farming changes up here. Um,
Yeah, but
there
but
there is more brushing, so we're losing more trees.
okay,
We've been dry, the last couple of years, so it's not a
okay,
water thing.
okay,
We actually do have some farmers planting corn, but I'm talking it's not the same kind of stuff you guys have. We have guys planting corn and they just turn their cows loose in it and grazing in the wintertime. So it's never harvested, but we don't have birds at all in there. But
right.
for me, the weather has been warmer longer. Um, and you look at Saskatchewan in general, the amount of grain that is on the ground, from hail or storms or whatever, it would be very comparable to flooded cornfields. The water's not in the field to flood it, but like the crop on the ground, The numbers, bushel an acre would be for sure there. And we still lose our birds when it gets cold. It's just a weather thing for us. So when that weather turns cold, they're gone. It has nothing to do with not enough crop or food here for them. They just leave when it's cold.
So, okay, so we're to the weather. So nobody's planting anymore. Nobody's planting anymore. Nobody's doing anything different up there. But I think I saw just as much canola as I saw in any past
Oh,
years up
yes.
there,
Oh, for sure.
right?
The canola's been king forever.
Right. The prices are up. And if you don't know anything about canola, birds will not go in a canola field. Like I think you and me personally, I think I've only seen like six birds in a canola field and they were lost and they landed there and they didn't know what they were doing. And then they left like 2 minutes later. Like, so I
Oh,
don't
for
think I've
sure.
ever seen anybody in them, right? Any birds in
No,
them.
no, you don't see that. But like, I think like as far as if you want to say in the last say 14 or 15 years, I would say we have less peas now and
Okay.
more canola than ever before.
Right.
Our cereal numbers are probably pretty good still, like wheat and barley and that. But I would say we have less pea fields now than we've ever had, and peas at the start of the season is the best for us. Um, but yeah, like canola. But our birds are holding on, and the canola fields are canceling out fields that the birds would go in. So yeah,
Right.
I
So it's
I, I think there. Yeah, I don't think there's any crop change other than canola.
okay. All right. So that's a fact. Okay. So that's Canada. Now we start moving down. Uh Byron's the problem. He's in Missouri. He's the problem, and well, not he's the problem, but everybody around him is the problem. So
Yes.
what the talk is that there's few certain outfitters, and Duke, you can chime in on in a second on this too. Like they've said, like it's a couple outfitters who are have huge amounts of corn. They flood it and they're holding all the birds. And my first comment in all this before Byron and Duke jump in because Duke's below Byron. If those guys are holding all the birds, right? How come we're not seeing so many pictures and they're just killing all of them, right? Like they're holding all the birds. Why isn't TV, right? We're not going to use everybody's name. I'm not going to put, I don't know everybody over there. But if they want to point fingers at one specific outfitter, right, that's holding all the birds,
Mm-hmm.
if he's holding all the birds, then why isn't he like in jail for killing every bird in Missouri, in the United States, right? So it's not him, right? Because go ahead, Byron, just go because I'm like lost.
It's such a hot topic. And the way I've seen it over the years, just like we talked in the last podcast, man, it all comes down to weather and how much you hunt. So anybody can look like a killer. If you're hunting 60 days out of a 60-day season, you're going to kill something and you're going to be able to post pictures and everyone's going to be like, oh, they're still on them because they still got them. It's like, no, we're hunting 60 days long and posting the 30 photos that we have, right? But you
Right.
got your weekend warriors that are going out
Right.
there on a Saturday, on a bad weather Saturday, and they're not killing, and then they go out again the next Saturday, and again they're not killing, and that's what they want to go to is straight to flooded corn. But if
Right.
you go back, like Tyler was talking about, you go back 10 years ago, we had snow, we had tons of snow,
Yeah.
and they're not going to move without their crops being covered.
And
That's
Bobby's
the
going to talk.
biggest.
Yeah, Bobby's going to talk about all that because he's the weather guy. That's Bobby's a meteorologist. That's why he's here. He's smarter than all of us.
Yeah, and that's perfect because this year, everyone was complaining about this year. In December, our average temp in Missouri, northern Missouri, I'm touching Iowa, was literally like 65 degrees. I was hunting in a short sleeve shirt like on Christmas. I'm pretty sure Christmas was like 65 or 70. That's an
Yeah.
issue. We
Okay,
had
so
maybe
go
three
ahead.
inches of snow over the whole winter. The whole winter.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, so we got a snapshot there. Now, before we go to Duke, let me ask this, and then we're going to go to Bobby because he's going to give us some readouts. As far as how long you been hunting in the South, in Tennessee, or in the South?
Oh, geez. 50 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything, any weather patterns like this? Because a lot of guys are going, "Hey, it's a cycle, right? It's up and down, it's this and that." So, have you seen
Right.
anything like this ever?
No, we had drought. We had the big snow right at the end of January. So
Okay,
right at the tail end of our season, we had the big snow.
okay,
Ducks and geese showed up,
right.
but I mean, I wasn't out there. It was
It
bitter
was
cold.
right,
It was terrible. And I've had bypass and all that good stuff, so I can't really get out there and fight all that. So, and Jeff went to Arkansas, and he
right,
actually had he actually had some frostbite on his toe from goose hunting in Arkansas. So it was cold, here.
right.
So, but it was the end of season also. There's some guys killed ducks and everything, but all through our December, January till the snow,
Yeah,
I mean, people struggled. I'm a stone's throw from several blinds, and the days I didn't go, I can hear the shooting from my house.
right,
It
right,
wasn't much shooting.
right,
I
right.
mean, Luke Bryan's blind is just not far at all from my house. It's across the Obion River, but um,
Well, you would think they'd have enough money to plant whatever and they'd get all the ducks, right? But
he
not the
does
case.
he does that Byron thing. He does that standing corn, flooded corn type deal, and they leave the refuge, our local refuge, and they go that
Sure.
way because they're so
Yeah.
you can drive up through there, and it's not just him. I'm not throwing stones at Luke.
Yeah, for
It's
sure. It's not, no, it's not any
several
one person.
several people that have money, have lodges and big
Yeah.
acreage. They plant corn, they flood it, and I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Byron, your thing's making me hungry. Tyler,
You
that's
want
pretty
some of
good
that?
corn. That's pretty good looking corn,
That's a
isn't it?
really nice corn.
That
And
was
it's got
pretty
butter on
good.
it too. Let me get out of the way, show you that
Yeah,
butter.
I was just gonna say,
That
move
is
over a little
sweet.
bit. Like butter's perfect,
Is
little
that
salt on it.
salted or unsalted butter?
It's definitely unsalted. It's the only way to cook.
All right, now we're going to facts. Bobby Digital, hit me with the facts. As far as the weather, let me hear it. Like, give me whatever you pulled.
Yeah, so
Whatever.
three things that I looked at over the last 15 years, because I know that's what you guys have really been looking at.
Right.
To Tyler's point, and I think this is very important. It doesn't matter if you got canola fields, doesn't matter if you've got your cereal grains. Ducks aren't going to move, birds aren't going to move until it gets cold. And we have seen over the last 15 years that winter window or that initial cold snap start to continually be pushed back
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 to 3 weeks out. However, this last year, the winter that we're coming out of right now, was the first one in 15 years where we had basically a bookend where it got cold real early. It warmed up through,
Right.
late November, mid December, early January, then another cold snap, which is what you guys were saying. You're starting to see your birds at that point, and then
Right.
we're starting to warm up again. So the last 15 years, we are seeing a pushback. We know that on average, they're saying winter is starting 3 to 4 weeks later in terms of that initial first cold surge. What we have seen is previously to those 15 years, we've had a run up of multiple weeks where it might start out, and for Tyler, I hate to use Fahrenheit. I'm sorry. I know you guys are big with the
You're
Celsius.
you're all right. You're all right.
Okay, but so we start going, 60, 50, 40, right? Where you start that nice decline where unfortunately now we're sitting at 60 degrees Fahrenheit and then we jump right to 30. Like that middle ground is where, and talking to friends of mine that work for fish and wildlife, they're like the birds sense when it starts to get cold. They start to kind of get that urge like it's time to
Right.
go. But when you go from 60 or 70 degrees to, 30 in a very quick time span, it confuses them like, hey, what's going on? Like, is this just, a lot of them pause. And I've heard that birds, when you go that cold that quick, they pause because they're not sure what's really going on climate wise. You used to have this run up where you would have those 3 or 4 weeks where the temperatures would
Right.
gradually decline and then it would kind of kick in instinct like, hey, it's getting cold, it's time to go. But now
Right.
we're starting to see that we're getting these quick swings where temperatures aren't necessarily making that gradual move. It's, you know, 60s and 70s to 40s and 30s within a 5 to 7 day period.
There's no ramp up, right? There's no ramp up.
Right.
There's no gradual. And this is the thing we've talked about. Like it doesn't like the birds don't know what to do because everybody's like, okay, so okay, so down by Duke, Byron's like, I don't have any birds, right? He's in
Right.
Missouri, and then Duke's in Tennessee saying, I don't have any birds. Where are they? And it's like, well, they have to be all out of Canada and Minnesota because it's super cold up there. And I'm like, no, there's pockets where it's not. You know what I mean? So they're only moving into the pockets because there's no gradual push down of weather like we've normally had in forever. And it's like it's 60 here, it's 20 here, it's 30 here, it's 50 there. And exactly what Bobby's talking about. They're finding the pockets to hide or to not move or to sit or when to move. So everything is screwed. Like we don't have the hey, winter's coming, gradually moving, and just like Bobby said, birds are moving down as the weather pushes them, and snow. That's a whole other thing. So, Bobby, like you don't hunt like us. You're not as nuts, but you know the weather. But on the birds, if it's and Tyler and Byron and Duke will all tell you, if it's cold, super cold, but there's no snow covering all the food, they could
Right.
still get to the food
Right.
and they could keep open water or they can go to the river or they could do whatever and they're not getting super pressured. They're not moving either. So
Mm.
Tyler, how long did you have open water like up there? Like the rivers?
Oh yeah, we weren't froze. Like we were in the deer bush there, and like the muskeg wasn't frozen at all. Like we were. I think it was the third week in November, and we were contemplating like let's not deer hunt and let's go chase some geese because we were stacked with them. And
Still had them.
yeah, and like don't get me wrong, I like killing deer, but a couple big fields right beside the lodge here with big honkers in it. Like,
I
it's,
know.
Yeah.
and the year before, you guys seen Andy. Andy, he would have a spot down the road from our house, from the lodge. We'd be cutting meat because it's, hunting time. And he
Yeah.
would figure out when the birds were going, and we'd run over to the field, throw out a couple decoys, shoot our 2-man limit of ducks, and come back to work. And we were there for
Right.
an hour. Like we were
Right.
doing that all the time. And we should be working, but the mallards were so good, and widgeon and geese, like we couldn't help ourselves. But has it been like that forever? No.
Right.
But all I know is if this corn is the end all be all, like as soon as we're done this podcast, I'm going to go on Ritchie Brothers here, and I think I might, look for some corn planters. And what's the big deal? Ordering 20 ice eaters, you guys would be all screwed. Like, because
And
if
that's
I
it. We're
I
out of
can
business
Oh,
down
that's
here.
awesome.
listen, we always have birds up here, and if I could stop them, if that's the end all be all, if I could stop them, you guys would never have any.
Yeah.
You would have none.
Yeah.
But it's to me, it's just a weather thing. Like the amount, like there's fields out here, like quarter sections of land that not this year, but in the past has been 100% hail damage.
Right.
Like we can shoot those birds every other day, and we have, and they don't want to leave.
Right.
The moment it gets cold, they're gone. As soon as the water freezes up, they're gone. No pressure can push them away. You can shoot piles of geese and ducks out of them. But
Mhm.
as soon as it gets cold, they're gone.
Andy, who's Tyler's main guide, Andy just posted, he said, word on the streets, Tyler is planting corn this fall. Now,
Oh.
hey, your brother over in Braden said Southern Ontario froze up early quick, then a small thaw, then froze up again earlier than he's seen in a couple years for sure. So, like I said, we're going to the extremes. Like we go to extremes. It's 70 degrees, then it's 20 degrees, then it's 60 degrees, then it's 15 degrees. And it's like the birds, like Bobby explained it, like the fish and wildlife guys have said, the birds don't know what to do because they've never had to deal with like, hey, it's 60, and then like next day it's 20. Like, when are they going to get that feeling of the barometer dropping? Because it happens so fast, right, Bobby? That like, how fast do they notice the barometer changing, and they feel like they gotta move?
So there, from what I understand, is everything, especially when it comes to birds. You're even seeing this in your bigger animals like elk, bear, and deer. They sense it. They know that it's based on, again, it's hundreds of thousands of years, right, of evolution. They know that it's starting to get cold. We need to make the move. But
Right.
when you are in a weather pattern like we've been, and we can talk a lot about, your difference between El Nino and La Nina in those years.
Right.
The years where your jet stream remains very zonal, moving from west to east, and
Yeah.
it slowly sinks down, that's when all that cold air is coming out of Tyler's area and it moves into northern Minnesota. Then you get it,
Right.
with Byron right there on the edge of Iowa, and then it makes its way down, into Tennessee, and then it comes back up. That's what normally we have seen, and we see those in the
Right.
winters where we're in either an El Nino or a La Nina. It doesn't matter what pattern it is, it's more zonal flow. It's the years where we're making those transitions out from one to the other, which is where we get those wild swings. I don't want to drop a
Right.
weird term like bomb cyclone or polar vortex, which I know everybody gets, like trying to like figure what that is. But we see those type of things happen when we're in those patterns because you can, like Mario said, you can have an area of British Columbia be, minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and that air moves right down the Rockies, deposits out over, Colorado, Oklahoma, into Nebraska, Texas,
Right.
down south, and those birds are making that fly along, along the Rockies. But yet out in Iowa and Missouri, you're sitting in the 60s still, while everybody else to your west is getting snow, and you might eventually get into it, or you might not. And at that point, you're having to wait now for your next area of cold air to come out of Canada to kind of flush those birds out from where Tyler is in Saskatchewan to get them in the flyway to get them down to the plains.
So Bobby, the jet stream. So the jet stream used to be like kind of like this, right? Like kind of
Yeah.
not like a wave, but not. Now it seems like it's huge waves and just like
With
you're
dips.
talking about, right? Go ahead, Duke.
Mhm. With dips.
Yeah.
Big dips,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Huge
Right.
dips. Like that's what we're saying. Like the birds, like before you would just have this steady increase of pushing south. So like the whole point of this whole, podcast and talking and all this is like it really doesn't matter what you plant and where you are because I can tell you like I hunt flooded corn at the duck club and I hunt tons of river space and public, right? And we we feed more than we shoot by far. Like it is not even close, right?
Mm.
And the other thing is I'm holding some birds, but I'm not holding up the flyway because we're pressuring them, we're chasing them, like we're doing all that. That's the other thing. Like the whole conspiracy, and Byron, you could jump in this because you got $1 million duck clubs there down the slot and outfitters. Like if they're holding all the birds and they're hunting them, like those birds are going to push out of there. They're not going to sit there and get pounded on every day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So how can go ahead?
I was just gonna say, like, and I totally agree with that. Hunting pressure does change a lot. Um, Again, but to me, it's just when you go back and look at the weather aspect of everything and no snow cover, even if birds start moving down and there's no snow cover, they're gonna
Right,
stop. Like the Des Moines River's not gonna freeze up. And if there's no
right.
snow cover, they're just gonna set there in Des Moines or they're gonna set
Yep.
on the Missouri. It
And
doesn't
back up.
matter. They're
Right.
not going to
Illinois.
continue to push
Yeah.
south. There's no reason. They can get to their food. They have a giant, I mean, you know how big the Missouri River is. It's
Huge.
massive. They're not going to
Right.
get off that. I have people sending me, snaps in January of 50, 60,000 bird feeds in Minnesota.
Right.
Hmm.
And
That's
those
not,
birds never came down or they bumped down and then it warmed back up and they went back up. Like they just jump. Like they're starting to learn how to move and flow with the well, I don't want to say learn. They've already known this forever. They just jump with the weather and figure out where they need to go when they're getting pushed out of. But our weather is
right.
so screwed, like
It's
Bobby,
it's not like snow geese.
well, yeah. Yeah. Like
Snow geese, if it does get cold, they come down. If it gets hot, they go up. It's really back and forth. Geese and ducks honkers and ducks are a lot more thick skinned than that. They're not pushing out because of a little 20-degree drop
well,
or
yeah, and
because
it's
the
not teal,
pond
right?
pond's
Like you're
frozen.
you're not gonna like the
Right.
teal aren't gonna just go because they're cold and their skin is thin and all this other stuff, right?
No, we'll have
Like
we'll have mallards and honkers literally sleep on ice as long as
yeah,
the
They don't
With
care.
no water, as long as the crop isn't covered.
Well,
So
you go to Saskatoon right now, the river is still open, and
right,
there's not a whole pile of ducks there, but there is mallards there, and they're eating invertebrates and minnows, and they're not gone. And it's minus, like, I don't know what it was today, minus 15 or whatever, but like
right.
a couple weeks ago when I drove by, it was minus 40, and they're sitting on open water, hanging
Right.
out, eating minnows. Like, whoa, that sounds great. Has
They're
nothing to do with
eating
corn.
sushi. They're eating
Yep,
sushi.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Bobby,
No,
has there ever been like you're watching the cycles and looking at year after year, like I don't think there's ever been a cycle like this or a like something to follow. Correct me if I'm wrong, because like everybody keeps going like, hey, they're in cycles and we'll break out of it and whatever. But I don't think, Duke's been hunting for 50 years. He's never seen anything like it.
Mm-mm.
I'm right behind him. I don't know how probably 40 years I've been doing it. Uh, I've never seen anything like this in my life. So put some clarity on that.
Yeah. So
here's a
again,
question for both. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
everything is cyclical. We know that for a fact.
Right.
It's always about the rate of return, right? I mean, I want to use the analogy of a 100-year flood, right?
Right.
You have a chance, you have a 1% chance every year to have a 100-year flood. But as soon as that year is over, you go back to having the next year, you have a 1% chance of having a 100-year flood. And we've
Until it
seen
hits.
years where you've had back to
Right.
back 100-year floods. But,
Right.
people are like, well, it throws my cycle out. You made
Right.
the point about, the jet stream. Yes, it is zonal and it still moves that way. And yes, you have gentle dips in it and you have wild swings. We see, though, the wild swings are in those years where we're making those transitions from, the conditions in the Pacific Ocean, where if it's really warm to really cold on the ocean, you get that really weird swing. The thing with
Yeah.
the atmosphere is it always wants to be in balance. So that's
Okay.
why during the summer the jet stream lifts farther north because it's trying to release some of that warm air toward the poles. And during the winter, it wants to sag south because, again, it's trying to redistribute some of that cold air toward the poles. That's why you have the jet stream in the first place. So when you have these areas of really cold air or really warm air, they can affect the patterns. And we have seen that the last 15, 20 years, where really, and again, a lot of it is having a better understanding of it, but a lot of it is that there is changes within our atmosphere and our patterns. We have seen that since the day the earth was created. With
Are
that
they?
said, we do know, though, that just based on data, winter is getting pushed back a little bit and we are staying warmer longer. But to Tyler's point, you can have ducks on open water up there and it's minus 15, minus 20. And as you guys have all said, unless the food's not there or they have no cover, they ain't moving. There's no
Yeah.
reason to be. Birds, all of us, we're all creatures of habit, right?
Right.
We want to stay where we're comfortable. And yes,
Right.
to Mario, your point, and to, Tyler's point and Byron's point, they're not sitting on the Missouri to get shot at. They're
Right.
sitting on the Missouri because the food's available and it's relatively warm.
And they can
Right.
hide. Right. And
Yeah.
they can hide. So let me ask you this. Byron's got a question in a second. We'll go to him. But so with this cycle or with this happening, if you were like, well, with your data and whatever else, I don't know how far you can see into the future. Like, are we set up to have, because that's really what people want to try to figure out. Like, are
Sure.
we due for the same shit sandwich going into next year and the next couple years? Like, what are we looking at? Because obviously they don't have enough data on a year like this where they go, oh, well, this has been happening for the last, maybe it has been happening for the last 10 years, but it was so drastic this year that everybody's like, holy crap, what just happened? So, any insight into future?
Yeah, so again, if I had a dollar for every hour out in the forecast, I was correct. I would not be hanging out. Well, I'd still be hanging out with you guys because you guys are all cool. But I would be on the beach with the rest of the ducks and the honkers, just saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, just come kick it at my place. All the corn you want, it's all good." But what we have seen, and I'm going to use this analogy here locally, and Mario can attest to this. So we've got the Cascade Range, right? And we look at snow depth every year. It's how we
Yep.
measure what our snowpack is and what the water for the summer will be for wildfire and, of course, wildlife.
Right.
We right now are rivaling 2005 and 1981, which were the two lowest snowpacks on recorded record. Okay, and I know, and that's a story across the West. You look at
Right.
any snowtail site or measurement site across the continental United States, and they're all I can't say all, but a majority of them are below 60% of average.
Right.
And so when I look at forecasts to try and figure out, what's the remainder of my year going to look like for the next 2 months before we get into our late spring melt and then our early summer melt, what does that say for next winter? Every time that we have had a really, really shit winter in terms of snowpack in the Cascades, the following year we've rebounded with either average or above average snowfall. And
Hmm.
that's just not, that's the Cascades, that's into the continental, inside to the Intermountain West, Utah, Colorado. So that tells me, regardless of what's going to happen in the equatorial Pacific, chances are better than not that we see a colder winter and that we get back into that more zonal flow where we're used to, where you're consistent areas of low pressure moving through, dropping rain, dropping snow, moving, west to east in a more average fashion. So if I
Hmm.
were a betting man, which, Mara and I go to the casino every hot minute, I'm gonna put $40 down saying, yeah, I got a feeling next year is gonna be much better. The signal says that it probably will. We are transitioning out of a La Nina into what we call enso neutral, where you really don't have any real discernible difference between the temperatures in the Pacific, to a more El Nino state. When we get into that
Okay.
El Nino state, it does two things. One, it kills the hurricane season back east in the Atlantic because the Atlantic will go cold. Again, the atmosphere is always trying to find a balance. If it's warm in the Pacific, generally it's cooler in the Atlantic. You have a cooler Atlantic, you have a lot less tropical storms. So that's good news. When that happens, we generally see more colder air come out of Canada because, again, it's trying to balance everything out. So, again, if I'm a betting man, I'm thinking, okay, chances are probably a return to average for winter, and that means more consistent cold, more consistent, we call them BC sliders here in the Pacific Northwest where that cold air comes down off of British Columbia. But you're going to see that coming out of Saskatoon. You'll see that coming down out of Saskatchewan, Ontario, and then moving eastward. So if I'm hunting ducks or if I'm hunting the honkers, I think next year most likely would be a much better year than what we've seen this year, just based on previous data that we have and being
Right.
able to match up those years to the year that we're having now.
And we could get the 1% shot of another, sandwich.
Sure, one
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Like
Absolutely. I
who
mean,
knows? But I do
right.
like the outlook. That makes me feel a little bit better. Byron,
Yeah.
what was your question? Because you were ready. You were hot.
No, it
Your
was just
corn was
the
your
corn.
butter
Yeah,
was melting like you.
the steam was coming out, bud. No, I was just thinking we have a good portion of all the flyways kind of covered right here, and again, my main argument is just going to go straight to weather. I don't care how much Missouri is corn. You ever drove through Missouri? It's nothing but corn. That's
Right.
not changed in the last 15 years. Sure, Joe Schmo down the street might have pushed out 80 acres of ditches and planted corn, but that's not stopping it. Okay.
Right.
Um, Through your guys' flyway, Tyler, Duke, Mario, have you seen over the course of your hunting career, what have you seen as far as temperatures? Have you seen an increase in heat and a decrease in snow over the course of your times?
Tyler, you go first, then we'll go to Duke.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We always used to get, like the end of October, we would have snow. We'd have, like, sometimes it would snow in, before my birthday, like the 15th or 12th of October, we've had
Right.
snow, and we don't get rid of it. Like,
Right.
it stays.
Once it's
Like,
there,
yeah. So, like,
you're in.
yeah, but since we've been working with you, Mario, for I don't know how many years now, 5 years or whatever, I got
Yeah.
all those white for the snow, for the A frames, and I got
Yeah.
snow cover. We haven't. They're still
Haven't
brand new
pulled
in
them
the
out.
box, sitting in the shop.
It's
I
7
haven't
years,
touched my
but I've
snow
been
covers
counting.
in 2 years.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was a
7 years.
requirement to hunt with me.
Yeah.
I literally I texted everybody and I said, if you want to hunt with me, you must own a snow cover. Now it's the complete opposite. They're in the freaking shed and they haven't moved for 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm in
So
Missouri. I should be seeing snow.
yeah. So I think, like if you're looking at our birds, like, we are getting to hunt longer up here,
Sure.
and, like, well, what, I don't know what that was after my birthday. I keep saying my birthday, but that's how I
We were
gauge
almost around
everything.
Halloween.
Your
It was past
Halloween,
Halloween.
well, your Halloween, and we were shooting, 9 to 10 guys, a double double every day with
Yeah.
our last group of clients. So,
Yeah.
shoot our ducks in the morning or geese in the morning or whatever, vice versa. But you're shooting, 80, 90 honkers and 80, 90, and we're shooting
Well,
lessers. Like, the lessers should be gone. We were shooting,
well,
normally the end, we're shooting our
Yes.
our
Honkers.
ducks and our big geese, and it's a slow roll and whatever. It's still good hunting, but like this was like, well, we what did we shoot 100 and something ducks on film with you?
Well, we shot widgeon. I was just gonna say, like, we shot a bunch of widgeon. They should be gone, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason that they should have stayed there. So you're seeing exactly what we're talking about. And then if you're hunting longer, that means you have birds longer. That means Byron's not seeing his birds. He's going to see his later. I'm going to see mine later. Duke's going to see his later. And and
Or not
and
at
God
all.
forbid you live in Louisiana. We'll go to you, Duke, next. But God forbid you live in Louisiana or Texas or all the way down to the bottom, and it's like, holy shit, when are you gonna see your birds? Like, you couldn't pay me enough to live all the way down. Go ahead, Duke.
Oh, I was just going to say, late 70s, we had a lot of snow in this area. We killed Canada geese up into the early 80s. Early 80s is when our Canada geese just quit.
In the
We
80s.
don't,
Okay.
real foot area, I mean, there's pits all up in there, but they're not used anymore because the geese just aren't there anymore.
You don't get them.
We don't get them. So that showed me that the ducks could do the same thing. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like Jethro Bodine saying when he hears that music, somebody's at the door.
Yeah.
So
Let me throw this out because we're seeing that here in our flyway with the cacklers are starting to move a little to the east. Okay. They're starting to shift flyway. So I'm going to throw like a whole other curveball and we're going to talk to everybody, starting with you, Tyler. Have you seen a difference in the birds in your flyway coming through in the last, since you've been guiding, since you've been in Saskatchewan there?
Oh, 100%. Like years ago, like when I first started working for Jim, like, we'd shot, every morning we shoot a handful of specks, and we didn't shoot many snows.
Right.
Now we're seeing more snows depending on the year. We're seeing more snows. We're shooting more lessers. We're not, we're still shooting our big honkers, but everything
Right.
changes all the time. Like we never know when the snows are coming down. Like 2 years ago, I thought we got leaped. We didn't have them, and then all of a sudden they come late, and it was really good for us. But every year it changes. And like that's what I truly like about waterfowl hunting is you don't know what you're going to
What's
get
going to
into.
go on? Well,
Do I know we're going to kill birds all the time up here? Yes, it's Canada. We're in a really good spot. Like,
exactly.
yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
kill birds. Yes,
Right.
for sure. We're stacking the cards in our favor, living where I live. But I don't know if we're gonna get froze out in October or we're gonna hunt them till November. Like
right.
I know guys are killing birds in southern Saskatchewan and Alberta right when our season is done. Christmas time, they're
Yeah.
still killing birds. The
Yeah,
last
that was
couple
never
years.
used to be like that. Never used to be
No,
like
sir.
that. Everybody would be froze
No.
up, birds would be gone, snows to the roof. You can't even go outside. It's minus 40 and even the rivers are freezing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when
And
it's
that's
that.
when we would
Good, dude.
start killing birds. We would start killing
Yeah.
birds around Christmas, New Year's, all the way through January.
Yeah.
But now they're talking about, hey, let's extend the season, but you're getting into mating time then. It's
They won't
stupid.
do it.
No, don't do
Listen,
that.
that will never happen. February
No.
1 is the cutoff. They will never go past that because of the breeding seasons and the mating. And I mean, shit, the mallards out here, they're pairing up in beginning of January, like right after Christmas, they're starting to, they're paired up and they don't
Yep.
want nothing to do with nobody. So
Well,
that's what
the
happens out by me.
end of season, we're seeing like 7 drakes following a hen all through. You know how they do, dive dip and
Chasing them
everything.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Because they're mating.
Yeah. Byron, what about you? Like you've seen, listen, the weird thing about Byron's place, Tyler, you would love it. You'll laugh. Like he's like, we don't get any ducks here. And I was like, what do you mean you don't get any ducks? He gets no ducks. Like he is an hour from ducks this way or this way, and they don't come through there. And now he gets the geese, piles of geese. But ducks,
I a
now
good
did you used to get ducks there?
no, honestly, no, not really. I mean, we'll to see like 2,000 ducks in
You
total in the area
did you used
is
to see
stacked.
more way back? Like has it changed
Oh
in your
yeah,
slot? Like everybody's saying it's
it's
changed. Okay.
slowly right.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to see a lot more, but now it's we're right on 35 highway, Interstate 35. You got to go an hour east or an hour west.
Yeah.
Hour west, you over there about Mound City.
Yeah.
All of our conservation grounds have refuges over there, and then an hour east, you're obviously getting into TV and some other big
Right.
names that have property. But I'm going to bite off of Tyler's last comment there or last statement there about birds holding and staging. So a lot of our spots around here we would drive around and scout. I remember like the year that you came up and you saw the prison had, I don't know, 1,000 setting on it.
For
Well,
sure.
normally just across the way, there's a big lake that sits there. We would hold 10, 15, 20,000 honkers. I haven't seen that like that in at least 10 years. 7 to 10 years probably. That should just go to show people right there that they're not migrating.
Well,
Well, looking around and seeing that all these places that we used to know to go check for refuges don't have anything.
you know,
Farm ponds get a little, but
just like you were talking, right? And do everybody can answer, but I don't think anybody's got anything different than me. Like you said, has everybody has anybody in their flyway like are people over by me like all of a sudden everybody and their mom is planting corn, right? Change the whole flyway. Like I think people have been doing that for honestly the last 20 to 30 years on managing their property. They have something, planting something, whether it's letting natural come in or planting corn and flooding it or whatever. Like this isn't a new thing. So for everybody to just blame flooded corn, like I don't think there's that much more has been grown to change it this year. You know what I mean?
no.
Now
The
the other
people they're
thing is,
blaming,
huh?
I'll say the people they're blaming in Missouri, the club.
Yeah,
Here's the thing, that club's been there since I was a kid. It has been there my whole life. I grew up watching the DVD videos of that. That hasn't changed.
nothing's
You're
changed there,
getting
right?
more people into waterfowl, more high schoolers into waterfowl. They're finding out about that, seeing pictures, and they're like, oh, that's the reason. Listen here, buddy. Missouri's been corn its whole life. That place has been corn its whole life. Everywhere around that place has been flooded corn its whole life. It
That
hasn't
has not,
changed.
right. So
It,
like
it's
that's
not
what I'm saying.
changing.
Like there hasn't been more there, more planted, more anything that
Not
I
much.
can see. Like I don't know the numbers, but I don't think like corn is up, right?
No.
I don't think corn is up production wise. Maybe it's up a little, I don't know what, but it's not up to the point where you're like, yep, that's it. That just did it.
You know
First
You
what?
they
know?
Another
passed the
another
bill. Go
another
ahead.
thing that I think too is everybody says the grass is greener on the other side, right? So that people are looking at these guys planting corn, they're like, oh, they're wrecking the whole flyway. Well, it's not. It sucks to suck. Like if you got the corn, man, like plant the corn. But I don't think that's going to be the best thing for you. Like you gotta hunt every day. You gotta be good at what you do. You gotta think outside the box. Like I
Get the
don't think the
windshield
corn.
time in.
Yeah, I don't think the corn is like where it's at, because if it was, I'd fire all my spotters and just throw a bunch of corn in the slough up here and shoot the son of a bitch every day. Like fuck, save me a lot of money here. But like that
Exactly.
is, I think there's a big jealousy thing, and I'm not
Yeah.
just saying with one club, or people
Yeah,
got flooded corn, or they got this, or I can't
sure.
hunt there, and they're wrecking it for all of us. Well, there's a lot of things wrecking it. There's a lot more staging areas or refuges. There's people not
Yep.
allowing access to hunting. Look at in the last well, I don't know, since I started hunting. Like I started when I was 12. I'm 38 now, so whatever that is. But like you could buy a box of shells for $10.
Yeah.
Box of shells now is $30.
Yeah.
Like now with this war that's going on, like she's a buck, almost a buck 45 a liter.
Oh yeah,
She's gonna
it's
cost me $200 to fill my pickup truck to drive around.
yeah.
You're gonna pretty much put zero windshield time in most young hunters' lives. Where are you gonna? You're gonna. So you make minimum wage $15 an hour up here in Canada, and you're gonna have to work 3 hours because you're gonna have to pay the government at least one of those hours for tax to
Right.
buy one box of shells. So you start doing that, people are just gonna go, oh, I'm just gonna go sit by this pond, and then they're not gonna shoot anything, and they're gonna go, oh, geez, man, the corn is wrecking everything for all of us. No,
Yeah.
the whole
Well, and
world is wrecked. Hunting,
if they
hunting is not a cheap thing no more.
no, I will say this too. You did bring up a
No.
good point, and I know Duke can talk about this too as well, and so can Byron. Is that the refuge systems down here? They they have management areas where they have planted corn, and they have done some things like that. A lot of
Mhm.
the refuge systems are still like, hey, we're moist soil or natural habitat. They do stuff like that. Are I don't know if I'm seeing, more birds go to the refuge systems and sit. I don't know about that. I think we're losing a lot of access. I think we're losing hunter numbers for sure. Access is always the key, right? Like that's always the thing. Like the management areas are getting pounded, right? So it's like there's only so many spots you can go there. So also, the birds will go nocturnal when it gets tough, and they
Exactly.
can go back and sit at the refuge. But, I know we
Exactly.
have more refuge systems and more things, few more. I don't know what the percentage is from way back, but like they still had that back then as well. So the birds could go nocturnal back then too. Right, Duke? Like, am I wrong on that? Like,
You're spot on, buddy, because I mean the places that I've hunted that planted corn, I mean, you can be unloading your gun and the birds are coming in right then
right,
at dark.
right at dark. They know
Right
exactly
at
what
dark.
time.
And they're
Right,
feeding all night and they're going back to the refuge during the day. I mean,
right.
it makes sense for them. They
Yeah,
don't get
well, for
shot
sure.
at.
Well, and if there's no weather, right? Like here's Bobby. Bobby, you can chime in a
Right.
minute. And if there's no weather to move them around during the day, they can sit there all night. They can't go out all night and then come back and sit there all day. Go ahead, Bobby. What did you get?
Yeah, so just two quick points here. U.S. production of corn has not gone up since 2011. That was the high point. So it might be steady, but it's not going up, and we know that for a fact. Second thing is you have to remember we're coming off of what has been considerably the highest temperatures in the last 5 years globally of all time. Now, I'm not going to jump into that because there's still a lot of unsettled stuff out there. But even if you're raising temperatures 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees,
Sure.
Fahrenheit, 3 degrees Celsius, that's still enough to tell birds, hey, you might want to pause a second. Like we said, if you are coming in to, feed on something at night and nobody's shooting you and you're going to go back in the early morning, kick it at the refuge. I mean, I don't want to use the pun, but I'm going to. It's shooting fish in a barrel, right? Like
Right.
they don't need to go anywhere. They can just kick
Yeah.
it right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're safe, right? I mean, Byron, there's a lot of refuge systems there by you. You know what I mean? There's places for
there's
them to
tons.
hide and go and do all that, right? Like there's lots, and I don't know if those refuge systems by you have changed at all. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, no, not really. It's all the same, like you said, naturally flooded stuff, and then there's a few like what they call like the MAC units, which is like flooded corn and stuff. But
Right.
no, that's again all been here. I mean, I grew up on that stuff when
Been
I was
here
a kid.
forever. Right.
It's been there my whole life. So none of
I,
that's changed.
I just think like you said, like the guys who have had properties, for however long, whether they buy something new or what, chances are if it's a established outfitter, property, club, whatever, it's probably been growing corn forever. You know what I
For
mean?
quite some time. Yeah.
Or whatever. Barley, oats, something that's not a moist soil plant. Like,
Well,
listen,
some of
has
these
it
clubs,
increased? I'm sure it's increased, right? Like I'm sure more people have planted more stuff. I don't know what the stats are. Like that'd be impossible to find out. But I'm
I
saying that
know
it's not as much that is what's changing what's going on.
there's a club that is well established that gets a lot of the blame that built another club off of a river, and it's full of flooded corn. And after 2 years, it was already listed for sale.
Because it wasn't
Well,
Yeah.
working.
but I thought flooded corn was the key.
Answer. Yeah.
It was like 38 million. It could be yours, but still, I
Let me
thought
get
that was the answer. If
Get your
they
checkbook out,
ban,
Tyler.
if they
Let's go.
if they put
That's
that
see, that's in the
ban
States. I'm
bill,
not investing in the States. You invest in Canada. That's where all the birds are. We just established this.
it's all
You,
right. I'm bringing up a 50-pound bag of corn, and I'm coming. I'm coming to stay
buddy, they got
permanently.
it up
You're
there. You don't even
invited.
have to
You're
take it with
invited.
you. They got their own.
If they pass that bill, whatever bill it is, I don't even remember what it's called, where you can't hunt corn or whatever,
Like a
all they're going to
flooded
do is start.
crop.
Yeah, they're going to start blaming ice eaters, and then they're going to ban ice eaters, and then they're going to come to the realization it's weather. Because guess what? The flooded corn's still going to be there, so now they're going to have no pressure to leave, and then
Well,
they're going to keep the hole open, so we don't need ice rippers, and then they can blame weather. Maybe
I
that's
did
the
see
process of it.
I did see some videos and shit. I can go right out to our place that I manage. I can go right out there right now and walk through, we got 20 acres of corn, like and in some years, and I've seen this, Duke. I think you've seen some of these videos where guys are walking down the rows of these places that have been flooded, and they're still full ears and
Yeah.
lots of corn on it, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so if flooded corn is the deal, and they are gravitating to it, and they're going to eat you out of house and home, there shouldn't be any left. And I can tell you, this is the first year in 20 years, 19 years of that duck club that I can walk through that place and find corn cobs with still all the corn on them.
Hmm.
And that has never happened. You couldn't walk that 20 acres
Hmm.
in the 19 previous years or 18 and walk through there. You could set that some bitch on fire and you wouldn't pop a kernel. Okay. That means there
Unless
was nothing,
unless the
nothing.
snow geese had been there. If a snow
But
geese
yeah,
come into it, they'll wipe it out.
right. So I'm saying, dude, just ducks, and we don't even hold that many geese at that place. So I'm saying this is the first year in forever that we didn't get fed out totally. So what
Mm.
that tells me is I wasn't holding the amount of birds that we should have been holding the whole year to feed them all, keep them there, do whatever. Because if they wanted it at night, they'd come and eat it all, right? Doesn't matter. So
Hmm.
once again, they didn't need a hot food because Bobby said the weather wasn't as cold as it has been. They don't need corn. They don't need to eat it all. So it doesn't matter about the corn. If you don't have the cold, they're not going to the corn. They'll eat
Yeah.
invertebrates. They'll eat oats. They'll eat barley. They'll eat whatever.
Here's a
They
here's a
don't.
really good observation I've had, and this is weird because it feeds in off of that. So 10, 15 years ago when we started out hunting, this is how we would scout, right? You drive around. We hunt loafs here mainly, on ponds, pond hopping. So
Yeah.
we would find, 500 honkers on a pond. That night they would fly to a cornfield and then they'd go back to a roost. The next day they'd go to that pond, then the cornfield, then the roost. Okay. Now, when we scout, a lot of the times what's happening is they go to the pond, they eat the grass around the pond, then they go to
Okay.
bed on the pond, then they wake up at the pond, then they eat the grass on the pond, and then they go to bed on the pond, and they don't leave. And I'm talking about a half-acre cattle pond.
Right.
Okay,
Hmm.
why are they not leaving that to go feed anywhere? Because it's
They don't need
75
it.
degrees out and they're just eating grass. So
Exactly.
there's either two options: you can go push them off and hope they come back, which sometimes will work. But then you get, oh, you're busting a roost. Well, it's not really a roost because it's not. When I think of a roost, I think of 1,000+ birds sitting there
Right.
where
On a
you're going to
lake.
stage and hunt
Right.
surrounding areas. These birds aren't going to leave for 3 weeks. There's
No.
a pond just past the prison where out by where you were
Yeah.
that had 125 honkers on it for 65 days straight. And the pond is a fourth of an acre big. I could throw a freaking piece of corn across the pond.
They don't even
And
care.
they stayed there and they never
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
Ever.
No weather. They
That's a
don't need a
problem.
hot food. They don't need to go anywhere. Like that was the
Nope.
whole reason, I mean, Tyler, you see it up there when the birds when the weather changes and what's going on, birds go in a cycle on what they need to eat. Up there,
Oh
down
yeah.
here, no matter where you go, they're in a food cycle with the weather cycle.
Oh, for sure. But the other thing that we're kind of missing here, I think, is that place that you guys keep talking about down there in the Corn Belt.
Yeah,
They have a camp up here in Canada.
correct.
Why isn't there fucking flooded corn there if that's the best thing in the world?
Don't, because you don't
Touche.
need it up there,
right?
Touche. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
I'm
That's what's
telling you,
stopping the migration.
I'm telling you, mark my words. If corn was the key, flooded corn was the key,
It would be up
I
there.
would have more
Yes.
flooded corn at my lodge. You, Mario, you know me very well. I would have all these farmers convinced flooded corn, and we would rule the
You
countryside.
got to leave a
There would
section
there
for
would
me and
there would
flood
the
it.
migrate. You would guys would hate me down there.
Good,
Tyler,
we'd never
man,
see a
stop
bird.
the migration. There is no migration.
There'll be some crying in the
None.
Golden Triangle.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, that's not what it is. It's the weather.
Ugh,
Like there's more, the other thing we haven't talked about, there's more hunting pressure in Canada, like in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba than there's ever been because the
yes.
hunting has been poor down where you guys are
Yeah.
and people have come up. Social
You're
media,
you're going to see an uptick for sure.
there's more bird hunters in Saskatchewan for sure. I know that 100%.
Yeah.
We take more hunters than we've ever taken,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, our season we can shoot our birds longer, right?
Yeah.
Before, the guy I worked for, we hunted 5 or 6 weeks,
Right.
and that was it. We never did. We never hunted more than 5 or 6 weeks because it wasn't worth it because we were
Right.
gonna get froze out, and nobody
Right.
wants to get froze out.
Right. And then
Now
you got to
we
cancel. Right.
now we hunt September 1st, and we're running until into November.
Yeah.
Wow.
We pushed back some of our deer hunters because we want to go kill geese longer.
Yeah.
So
You know, going
you
off
know,
of your previous topic too, I know you're talking about seeing cacklers and lessers, and I'll start with like the banding process. So back when I was younger, all of our bands would come from Manitoba, Canada, or Minnesota. And now we still get Manitoba bands quite a bit, but we don't ever see Minnesota. It's North Dakota. So that's shifted over for us. And
There
with
you go.
10 years ago, if you seen a lesser 10 years ago, we were doing anything and everything to try to kill him because that was rare. I mean,
Right.
we never seen lessers. We never seen cacklers. Every once in a while, they would scraggle along. This year, we were having limits of lessers and cacs. I'd never had that in my life
Wow.
where we
Yeah.
would come out and actually just have like enough cacs for everyone to say, "Oh, let's mount it," because we never get it. Well, now it's just another bird,
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
weird because we never seen that.
yeah.
Never.
Duke, what about the specs and everything down by you? Like that's increased. Like the spec numbers are on the rise like everywhere. Like I just looked at some stats and it's like it'll blow your mind how much the population there is going up.
I didn't know what a spec was for the longest. And then we started killing them.
Right.
And I'm like, this is great. They work.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
like a snow goose,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll tell you, it's not just waterfowl. You think about it, guys, there's a lot of different animals that have really changed a lot when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, even crows, egrets, everything has changed. And,
For sure.
and to me, it comes down to the hunting aspect. If you love hunting, go hunting. If you killed all the time, it'd be called killing. I mean,
Right. For
just
sure.
enjoy it. And hey, it'll come around. I used to tell my cousin all the time, it'll come around. It'll be all right.
There was an old timer out here, older than me, older than you, Duke, that elk hunts. That's all he does, right? He's elk hunted his whole life, right? And this was a couple of years ago, mind you. He was way ahead of the curve. He said, the bulls are bugling later, the woods are reacting later. And
Mm-hmm.
he said, if you take a month off the calendar and wipe it off, if you get to September 1 and you change it to October 1, we're back in step. And this goes back to the stuff that Bobby was saying on the weather patterns. He
Mm-hmm.
said, if you wipe that off, all of a sudden everything gets back in step. So like Bobby said, it keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. And that's where we're at. Like we're like a month off. And I bet you Tyler can say it. I bet you everybody on this whole shit can say we're a month off. Almost.
Well, put it this way, our youth hunt is always in February. I didn't go. Of course, we were the second youth hunt. We were in convention in Nashville at
Right.
NWTF.
Yeah.
So one of the boys that hunts with me took a little girl on the second youth hunt. He told me, he says, just like the old days. He said, there are ducks everywhere. So
February.
you're talking about, the difference between early January, early February. You're spot on there.
That's so, and I don't know if that's
every
ever.
year.
Go ahead.
I'll just say so I used to have this calculation. So you know me, I post like all my kill photos on Instagram. Everyone gives me a bunch of shit for it, but I do it for a reason because I can go back and be like, okay, November this through this is when this happened. I could do that.
Right.
And I've done that so many times that my vacations I'm not a diver hunter by any means, but my God, I love redheads. So I used to have it calculated by statistics over the last 14 years what days we were killing redheads. And it was
So-
always November 18th through the 23rd. And we would always get like this massive redhead migration. I started taking those years off every year and we were always successful. Redheads, redheads, redheads.
Right.
That quit 4 years ago.
Well,
3 years ago. 2022 was the last year that we seen that redhead migration push during that same week. But it was in the years previous, it was on the money. You were going to hit it one of those days.
Well, and you can go and ask Tyler. Like I said, he's hunting longer up there. You know, he's getting 2 to 3 more weeks, or he could be getting a whole month. I mean, not that they are hunting. Like you're not hunting another month, but could you go November and run some people for sure? Like the way it's been going.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there's been other years where it's like, you're froze out before Halloween and everybody's done. So yeah, everything has changed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bobby, what do you got on any of that? Like you already went through all that, like how everything is pushed. So, and I don't know if we'll ever, I don't know with, call it what you want. I don't know if it's global warming. I don't know if it's just the cycles. And I don't know if we'll ever get that back. But like you said, hopefully we want that balance, right? The atmosphere wants their balance, and maybe we get that balance back.
Right. And again,
I
I
wanna-
apologize.
I-
I'm 3D
Go
printing
ahead.
some stuff here on a project right
Yeah,
next
no,
to
you're
laptop,
fine. You're
but,
fine.
yeah, I mean, again, we continue to see patterns where stuff moves back and then it returns to the previous time. That's just what happens because eventually you're going to have to revert back to the previous time because you can't always advance forward, right? Because if you continually advance, say, we're pushing winter back, say a month.
Right.
Well, by the time you get to March, sun is too strong. You're not going to be able to sustain that. So it's going to reset the calendar and go back. And so, I understand what you guys are all saying. And again, it's week by week, right? We're seeing that week by week. If we were to look at just overall pure numbers, yes, temperatures are up. And I will say this, you guys talked about the popularity, right? I'm a meteorologist. I love to storm chase. Mario knows this. We all carry this in our hands, right? We all have cell phones. Number of tornadoes have never gone up. We're still seeing the exact same amount of number of tornadoes. However, the number of tornadoes that are being reported are up because people now understand what they're looking at.
exactly.
So on the hunting aspect for you guys,
For
like
sure.
you talk about, you have your youth hunt and you get the high schoolers in it. And then, you get the guys that come out of the military or guys that are in high school and their buddy hunts and all of a sudden he wants to hunt and they discover you, with FA and all the other brands. Everybody's gonna be posting their kills. So yeah, it looks like, everybody's out there getting theirs, but you're not seeing a decrease in numbers of birds, right? We know that. So again, just with the temperature cycles, I think it always pushes forward and then it does revert back. So
Well, we're
the
hoping.
$1 million question is, when is that?
Right. Well, we're hoping.
We'd have to jump into it. But again, I will say this, it will happen. We just hope it happens sooner rather than later. Or we're going to have to start talking to, Fish and Wildlife and being like, hey, instead of September 1 for hunting season, we're rolling October 1 and pushing that out a month.
Right.
Maybe that works. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe not.
Right.
We never even got a winter in Missouri this year. And I
Yeah.
mean, I was golfing
Oh, for
February
sure.
1.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be golfing in February, but here we are. I've already golfed probably 15 times and it's March 12th. It was 60 degrees today, and then we get a 9-degree day tomorrow or Sunday, and then Monday is 78. That's a 70-degree difference in 24 hours.
That's stupid.
And again,
That's-
it's not gradual. That's what I'm talking about. It's
Immediate.
quick hitting. It's absolutely quick hitting. And you can't plan for that. And again, if you're a bird, it's like Obviously, birds. Well, birds might have these now. We never know. Maybe they got the app and they know exactly where you guys are all sitting there, when to pull the trigger, and they're avoiding you. Or maybe that's why they all fly at night now. I don't know.
Shot
But
one with an iPhone.
hey, I mean, you get your band of birds right. Maybe you get one with an iPhone. Maybe you get one with a chain. I don't know. But
Hey, that's where all the
eventually,
iPhones are going. That's where all the. If I shoot a bird with a BlackBerry up in Canada, I'm posting it. That's what we're doing. This
What
we're
what
going to
about
target
this?
them, Tyler.
Have you guys ever thought about this? And I hate to say this person's name on this podcast, but I'm
Don't
like
say it then.
I gotta say it. Do you know whose fault I think this all is? And it's not the guy with all the corn. Do you know whose fault it is? Justin Trudeau. It is his fault for all of this because he implemented the carbon tax, and the carbon tax is working. So all you Americans need to not think it's the corn, but it's Justin Trudeau's fault for the carbon tax and the warming up. It is his fault. So if you need to hate somebody, hate
Send
him
it to him.
because all of us Canadians hate him already. And Mark Carney is no fucking better.
We're not going. We're not going political. We're not doing it.
I'm not.
We got no
I'm just
time.
stating
No,
facts.
no, that's a
The
great
carbon
statement.
tax, the carbon
Yeah.
tax is high. Bird numbers are down
Low.
because the migration has stopped. I'm just
Gas
saying.
is high.
Put,
Bird numbers
put
low.
some
Got
put
it.
some spreadsheets out. You'll see them.
We're
They'll
on it.
jive. I'm telling
We're
you.
on it. All right,
But
let's wrap up because we've hit it pretty good. Duke, I'm coming to you in a second,
okay.
but we've had some great stuff. And once again,
Yeah.
we're going back to here's the other thing. You can't shoot them if they're not there. That's all I'm going to say. Go ahead, Duke.
I was just going to say, I mean, my church snake handled all the way through the winter. I mean, it was just incredibly warm.
Yeah. So there you go.
I figured you would cackle on that one.
That was a good one. I ain't gonna lie, but I ain't come. Hey, but I ain't coming to that church. That's why I just let that go past. Like,
No,
you know,
I want to get back to what I said before. It's hunting, guys. It's hunting. It's either here or it's not. Hero shots.
well,
I do it just like Byron said. I post stuff. Hey, we have good days. That's the thing about it. It might not ever come around in my lifetime to the good days, but the good days are right here,
for
and they'll
sure.
stay there.
Yeah. And listen, a good day is you got out, you went, you had fun. Maybe you worked a couple birds, maybe you shot a couple birds. Like maybe you took somebody new, like whatever it is. Like
Exactly.
I don't want to sound like, because listen, we've all gone through our phases where we want to kill them all, right? And do all that and
Exactly.
whatever. And that's all well and good, but it's like I just want to go, I want to have a good time, I want to shoot a couple birds, I want to pile them up just like everybody else,
Sure.
there's going to be good days and bad days, but I keep going back to doesn't matter what you're growing or what you're doing or what's happening. If they're not there and they don't move down because of the weather, it doesn't matter what you plant or what you do or what refuge system or how much money you got or what
Yeah,
pickup you
I agree.
drive,
I
right?
agree.
It don't matter. I
Yeah.
mean,
I'm a-
yeah, you should drive a Ford, but it doesn't matter if you have a Chevy, you may or a Dodge, you might kill some. I don't know,
Got a good
right,
made
Tyler?
Chevy.
Huh?
Well, you might be a little light in the loafers if you drive those other brands, but Ford guys, we're pretty good.
My final comment's going to be if you're not scouting, you're not killing. That's the
There
most
you go,
important aspect
Tyler. What
because you
about
can't
you?
kill it, you don't have
What's your I'll give everybody a last comment before we wrap up.
My thing is Canada's King. I got a week open. If you want to come book with me, we guarantee you we have birds. We don't have any corn, but we possibly could. Depends how my Ritchie Brothers sale goes.
Duke, go ahead.
I think I've said enough, especially with
Okay.
that church comment. No, I agree. I agree
Byron,
with
go
everything
ahead.
you've said tonight. I mean, it's great. Yeah,
I love it. I
you're
love it.
spot on.
Byron, what do you got?
I'm still sticking with it. If you're not scouting, you're not killing. It ain't the corn, it's the weather. Get
All
out
right.
there, find them, knock on people's doors and ask for permission. That's
There
how
you
you're
go.
going to kill stuff.
Bobby, what do you got? Final wrap up. I mean, you're everything. I mean, you're the weather. You're the one who's giving us the facts. So
yeah,
I mean, hopefully we
two
go
points
back
real
to
quick.
normal.
Yeah, 2 points. Byron, you've been shooting birdies just on the golf course, not you know, in the air coming in for a landing. But as you guys all said, it is the weather. Get out and enjoy it. I mean,
All right.
I'd much rather be a day out in the blind with Mario or any of you gentlemen than I would be behind the desk or on the green screen trying to tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. So just get out and enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it with listen. Like, just get out and enjoy yourselves. Do whatever. If it's fun for you, it's fun. You're going to have good days, bad days. Go do it. If you need anything, uh, I'll plug everybody that helps all of us kind of keep this going and the YouTube channel and everything else. And it's Loophold and Federal Ammunition and the guys at Weatherby and Rogers Sporting Goods and Tyler up at Saskatchewan Goose Company and Tourism Saskatchewan and friggin' Duke. Like, I can't make it go without Duke. All right. Listen, awesome stuff. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon. All right, you guys.
Thanks,
Freaking
Mario.
freaking
Later,
awesome,
guys.
awesome stuff.